Welcome back, everyone. We have officially made it to our last practice test of the 50-day series. We are going to work through the easiest portion today. So if you're more comfortable with the math section, I recommend skipping to one of the part twos of the module, one or two, because they have more difficult problems that will challenge you a little harder. We're going to start straight away right here with the first module. And we're going to do half of these problems. And then tomorrow we'll do the second half. So jumping straight in, question one, the line graph shows the percent of cars for sale at a used car slot on a given day by model year. For what model year is the percent of cars for sale the smallest? Okay, so percent of cars for sale the smallest be 2014. Very simple question. Question two, the graph of a system of linear equations is shown. What is the solution, x, y, to the system? Well, that's just when they intersect. So that would be at 4 comma -5, which is answer choice A. Next problem, we have question 3. The total cost in dollars to rent a surfboard consists of a $25 service fee and a $10 per hour rental fee. A person rents a surfboard for T hours and intends to spend a maximum of $75 to rent the surfboard. Which inequality represents this situation? So 75 is the max, so all of these are correct, showing that the equation on the left will be less than 75. And then we have our initial fee of 25, and then 10 times t, the number of hours per hour. So this doesn't have plus 25. This does have plus 25, but it's multiplied by t instead of 25 plus 10t. This doesn't have 10, and this would be your answer. Your initial fee plus your rate. Question 4. The graph shown will be translated up 4 units. Which of the following will be the resulting graph? So we have right here our current vertex at 2, -2. It won't let me write for some reason. Let's see. There we go. So our new vertex will be 2, 2, since it's up 4 units. Now let's look at our answer choices. We're looking for a vertex with 2, 2, and that's answer choice A. You can go through all these, but they're all wrong because of their vertex. Next problem, 5. The equation gives the speed s in miles per hour of a certain car t seconds after it began to accelerate. What is the speed in miles per hour of the car 5 seconds after it began to accelerate? Well, 5 seconds after it began to accelerate, so s of 5 would be 40 plus 3 times 5, and s of 5 would be 40 plus 15, which is 55. So the speed of the car 5 seconds after it accelerates is 55 miles per hour. Question 6, the function f is defined by f of x is equal to x squared plus x plus 71. What is the value of f of 2? So just plug in f of 2, and we get 2 squared plus 2 plus 71. So this is going to be 4 plus 2 plus 71. So 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 71 is going to be equal to 77. That's your answer. Question 7, an event planner is planning a party. It costs the event planner a one-time fee of $35 to rent the venue and $10.25 per attendee. The event planner has a budget of $300. What is the greatest number of attendees possible without exceeding the budget? Well, let's first make an inequality. So we know that the total is going to be less than $300 since that's the budget. And we know that there's a one-time fee of $35 plus $10.25 per attendee. We'll say attendee is A. So this is your equation right here. Now we're gonna solve the equation. by moving 35 to the other side. So that's going to give you 265 is less than or equal to 10.25a. So a is going to be less than or equal to 265 divided by 10.25, and that's going to give you 25.85, and then a bunch of decimals after that. So it needs to be a whole number, since you can't have part of an attendee. So the maximum amount A can be is 25. Since it's less than 25.85, so 25 would work. So that would be your answer for this question. Question 8. The table gives the distribution of votes for a new school mascot and grade level for 80 students. If one of these students is selected at random, what is the probability of selecting a student whose vote for the new mascot was a lion? Well, lion, it's not saying anything about grade level selection here, so you can pick any grade level, so out of a total of 80 students, and it's saying probability for a new mascot of a lion, and you look at the total votes for lions, and that's 20. So your probability is going to be 20 out of 80, which is equal to 2 over 8, which is equal to 1 over 4, and that will be your probability for the new mascot being a lion. Now we have question 9. Triangles A, B, C, and D, E, F are congruent, where A corresponds to D and B corresponds to E, and B and E are right angles. The measure of angle A is 18 degrees. What is the measure of angle F? So congruent means they are the exact same in length and their interior angles are the same. So let's say A, we know B is the right angle, and we know that C is what we can solve for, and then we're going to have the same size triangle over here with D, E, and F. So we know that angle A and D are both going to be 18 degrees. And since A is 18 degrees, D is also going to be 18 degrees, then we know that both B and E are 90 degrees. So we can solve for F by doing 180 is equal to 18 plus 90 plus, let's say this angle is X. So when solving for X, we're going to get 180, move this all to one side, which is going to be 108. So 72 is going to be equal to X. So that is your angle for F. Question 10. If 4x plus 2 is equal to 12, what is the value of 16x plus 8? Okay, well, instead of solving for x and then plugging it into this new equation, what we can do is just simply get this equation right here and multiply the whole thing by a factor of 4, because when we do that, we get 16x plus 8 on this side, and then 4 times 12 is going to be 48, and then this matches up with what the question is asking for, so our answer is 48. Question 11, which expression is equivalent to m to the 4 q to the 4 z to the negative 1 times m times q to the 5th times z to the 3rd, where m, q, and z are positives? Okay, so this is just testing your knowledge of exponential rules. We know that when we multiply exponents together, they have to be the same variable, and we're adding the exponent. So m to the 4 times m is going to be m to the 5. Q to the 4 times q to the 5 is going to be q to the 9. And then z to the negative 1 times z to the 3 is going to be z to the 2. So this should match up with one of the answers, which is option choice B. Question 12, an airplane descends from an altitude of 9,500 feet to 5,000 feet. at a constant rate of 400 feet per minute. What type of function best models the relationship between the descending airplane's altitude and time? Well, if it's a constant rate, that will represent a linear equation. So decreasing linear will be our answer since the plane is descending, not ascending. So yes, that will be answer choice B. Question 13, we have the system of equations right here. The solution to the given system of equations is x comma y. What is the value of y? Okay, to solve for y, we can simply just subtract this equation from the first one. These cancel out, then we get 6 minus 4, which is 2, and we get 4y minus 2y, which is 2y. So y is going to be equal to 1. What is the value of y? 1. That's our answer. We can move on. Question 14, the function f is defined by f of x is equal to x minus 6 times x minus 2 times x plus 6. In the xy plane, the graph of y is equal to g of x is the result of translating the graph of y is equal to f of x up 4 units. What is the value of g of 0? Okay, so g of x will be equal to minus 2 times x plus 6 plus 4. That will be our g of x equation since we're translating up 4 units. So if we solve for g of 0, we could just plug in our points right here, and we get negative 6 times negative 2 times 6 plus 4, and g of 0 is going to be equal to negative 6 times negative 2 is negative, or positive 12. Positive 12 times 6 is equal to 72. 72 plus 4 is equal to 76. So g of 0 is 76. Question 15, the function f of w equals 6w squared gives the area of a rectangle in square feet. If the width is w feet and its length is 6 times its width, which of the following is the best interpretation of f of 14 is equal to 1176? Well, we don't need to know the length in this scenario unless the answer choice states the length and we have to solve for it. But looking at our answer choices, we have an answer choice A. If the width of the rectangle is 14 feet, well, that should be our input, which is correct. Then the area of the rectangle is 1,176 feet squared. That is a correct statement. Question or answer choice B, if the width of the rectangle is 14 feet, then the length of the rectangle is 1,176 feet. That is incorrect. This should be the area. If the width of the rectangle is 1,176 feet, I'm going to stop right there. The width is not this, so that's wrong. If the width of the rectangle is 1,176 feet, that is also incorrect. So answer choice A is correct. Question 16, the number of bacteria in a liquid medium doubles every day. There are 44,000 bacteria in the liquid medium at the start of an observation. Which of the following represents the number of bacteria Y in the liquid medium T days after the start of the observation? So if it's doubling every day and T represents the amount of days, it should be 44,000 as our coefficient, not 1/2, not 2. So these are both incorrect. This is correct and this is correct. This would be halving every day. We don't want that. And this would be doubling since we're multiplying by 2. So D is correct. We're going to do one more question for today. Question 17. We have this table, and the table shows the exponential relationship between the number of years x since Hannah started training in pole vault and the estimated height h of x in meters of her best pole vault for that year. Which of the following functions best represents this relationship where x is less than or equal to 4? Okay, so looking at our answer choices, we know the equation isn't going to be linear since all the answer choices are of exponential form. Therefore, the best approach at this problem is to, I would say, plug and chug, but also use general knowledge to eliminate some answers first. So if we have different coefficients for these two, we know that we should plug in 0 to see what we get. So when we we should see what the value is at 0. It should be 1.23. So our coefficient should be 1.23. since when we plug in 0, we should get h of x is equal to 1.23. So these are incorrect, and this leaves us with these two answer choices. And as we increase x from 0 to 4, our h of x increases. So we know that our value in between the parentheses has to be greater than 1, because if it's not greater than 1, it's going to be decreasing. Therefore, answer choice D is the correct answer. For this question, you can also feel free to plug and chug the values in and see if you're getting the correct outputs for h of x, but this is just a faster method process of elimination that I find easiest, and hopefully it saves you time also on your next SAT test. But yeah, that's where we're going to stop for today. We're going to finish off this module in the next episode, and I wish you the best of luck on all your studying. See you